In today's fast-paced, high-tech society, very few of us try to live off the land. One local man, Craig Waasdorp, founder of Little Sprouts Farms, has chosen to do just that, along with his family. Craig says for him, the choice to go into farming and foraging for mushrooms came very naturally.
Studying biology in college and kind of like just researching and kind of like learning about where our food comes from and things like that kind of sparked my interest in farming. So yeah, I kind of wanted to learn myself as well as kind of like teach my family and, other people in the community about food and things like that. That's where it initially started.
When it comes to foraging for mushrooms, Craig says it's truly a family affair, as his family often will make an entire weekend day of it.
Get the backpack, pack it full of snacks, and we go out hiking the woods, and the kids enjoy because they're able to roam and use their imagination on things. So typically they're swinging from the tree vines and stuff like that, while my wife and I are like scrounging the areas to see if there's any mushrooms around. So this is a puffball. It's been like overwintered. Okay. They're pretty prevalent in summer and fall, and when they pop up, they're just like totally white. You can see that one is pretty big, like the size of a soccer ball or something like that. So this is extremely old, just like every mushroom, once it reaches its like maximum size, it's just trying to spore. And as you see, like when you hit it like this, that's why they're called puffballs. When you slam them like that, they just puff spores. Those are all the mushroom spores just going with it. So I was really concerned because obviously this has tons of spores. If you were to hit that and you breathe all those in, that's not something you really want to do. These are kind of like a type of turkey tail mushroom, they're commonly known as. There's a few different like kinds. This one looks like it's a little bit older. As you can see, these ones are like type of red. It looks like it's, just kind of like old and decaying. But these type of mushrooms aren't really like an edible variety. But certain turkey tail mushrooms are used for their medicinal properties and things like that.
Mushroom foraging can be seriously tricky, especially when trying to determine which mushrooms are good or bad, but it can also be seriously profitable, as certain varieties of mushrooms can fetch a pretty high price tag.
Morel mushrooms retail probably for about $40 a pound. And then, you go on to like chanterelles and chicken of the woods and hen of the woods mushrooms, all those can, fetch about $20 a pound. So, if you come across a nice load, it could be a nice little paycheck.
While foraging is one way to obtain these very valuable mushrooms, another way is to cultivate them. That way, Craig always has a dependable supply of mushrooms at his disposal. However, the process only works for certain types of mushrooms, and the process can be painstaking. Craig demonstrates how one can cultivate his or her very own shiitake mushrooms.
So all I'm doing is taking a small piece of tissue right from the inside of this here shiitake. Lid. We'll literally just take a little wedge of that plate and cut it. And then it'll go into, this is a jar of rye berries, also known as grain. And then from here, the mushroom from this agar plate will just colonize and turn all the berries white. And then from this is what we call a spawn. And then from spawn, it goes into the next substrate, like hardwood sawdust and things like that. And that's where the mushroom actually will fruit. As you can see, those are like the little pieces I took from that plate and put it onto another one. And, I only did it about a week ago. So you can see how all the white is growing from that spot. That's the mushroom mycelium growing and expanding. And it'll just keep colonizing the whole plate. Drop all its spores from under the cap right onto this little paper I have here. And then from there, I can take the spores. I have like a little inoculation loop. It's just like a round thing like that. And from there, I can take a little loop of spores and we can expand it onto a plate of agar. And then from there, the spores will grow and expand. And then, they go in a couple flasks and then they'll sit inside this pressure cooker, and then I'm bringing the media up to a 15 psi, and I cook that for an extended period of time, depending on what media I'm using.
Still, farming and foraging doesn't pay all the bills, so Craig has to make do by keeping separate employment, working nights as a server at a local steakhouse to make ends meet. Between holding a full-time job, running a startup farm, and helping raise a young family, Craig's ability to manage his time is crucial, as every moment of his day needs to be planned out meticulously.
A very young family, 3 kids, ages 7, 4, and 2, and and a wife, so there's definitely needs that need to be met at the house and with the kids. So it's been, over the years, we continue to fine tune our scheduling and stuff, making sure I'm putting in enough time at the farm as well as putting in enough intentional time with the family.
While Craig would certainly like to see Little Sprout Farms become a profitable venture, he says he has other motivation as well.
When I'm looking at myself in 5 years, being able to teach, and I think that's a big part of the business is, because people are really unknown or really don't know much about mushrooms. So we definitely see that as a big avenue for to grow the business, is to have that ability to teach and educate people.